Round 3 in the Australian Championship brings with it a massive matchup at Magic Park. Broadmeadow abuzz for the arrival of a former NSL giant in Newcastle as Broadmeadow Magic meets South Melbourne, a crucial clash atop Group A. Hellas arrive in the Hunter for their first national competition away day in 21 years. One of 3 sides with the perfect start to their championship campaign. Today, they're out to complete the set of wins against group stage opposition and strengthen their grip atop the table. There will be a few of a Broadmeadow persuasion with plenty to say about that, because if South Melbourne have learnt anything from their sister club Sydney Olympic last week, Broadmeadow Magic are not a side to be taken lightly. The Magicians, they pulled a shock result out of the hat in Sydney last week, and today they look to repeat the trick against another foundation club. Top spot up for grabs at Magic Park. Lots to like about the fixture that awaits in northern New South Wales as our 2 teams make their way out of the tunnel. South Melbourne in the white away strip going into this one. Perfect 2 from 2 and favourites, but who do you think will win? That's the question we're asking. You can scan the QR code on screen to cast your vote or head to australianchampionship.com.au. The Oceania Club of the Century arriving in the shadows of a ground where they used to play in the National Soccer League. You can see it in the background. McDonald Jones Stadium. It would have been Energy Australia back in the days they were playing there. But they return to northern New South Wales for the first time in 21 years, 317 days. It's a very different opponent that awaits them today. Broadmeadow Magic side who sent shockwaves through New South Wales with that 3-2 win against Olympic last week. They were so impressive in Kogarah, and this is the side that they name today. Just the one change from that win over Olympic for Jim Kresnar. Defender Luke Cochrane comes in for his championship appearance number 1. He replaces Aaron Opadesano. In midfield, James Kresnar is the club's top scorer this season. He is the middle son of Jim Kresnar, the head coach. And the player that South will be needing to watch out for is the number 22, Aaron Cox. The 19-year-old was a standout performer with a goal and an assist in that victory over Olympic last week. A really star-studded attacking lineup named by Jim Kresnar again today. Well, for South Melbourne, it's not been quite as easy at the selection table for Sinisika Hartic. 3 changes today. Noel Bernarda sits out for the first of 2 games after his red card last week. The injured Ollie Laval and Jake Marshall joining him on the sidelines. It's not all bad news, though, because Manny Agwek, after his 2-goal heroics, and one of them from the halfway line against Moreton City last week, makes his first South start. He's into the attack alongside youngster Campbell Doverson, and mid-season signing Braden Spink is into the defence. There is Jim Kresnar rocking the shades this afternoon. He's a name synonymous with Broadmeadow Magic. 10 years, 200 appearances, 2 championships as a player. Back-to-back league and grand final doubles as a coach since taking over last season. All in readiness here at Magic Park. And there is South Melbourne coach Sinisika Hartic, 23rd game in charge of South for him. He took over in the middle of the season from Esteban Quintas and has already got silverware to his name in the form of the Doherty Cup. Hoping that he can add more in the championship at the end of 2025, but job not done yet. Local referee Josh Attard behind the whistle today. He was in charge for an all A-Leagues affair in the Australia Cup earlier this year. Newcastle Jets against Adelaide United. Riley Kirkcaldy and Sam Stewart running the line. Charlie O'Brien, the 4th official. As we are underway in this top of the table Group A clash. Great to be back at Magic Park for what should be a massive matchup between two impressive sides in this competition as it swung in towards Agwek. And it was nearly an instant impact in his first start since coming back to the club. It was whistled in by Yuki Yoshida. And just a slight miscue denies Agwek what would have been a third goal in the space of 46 minutes of football. Came on at half-time last week. A scrappy regulation goal for the first against Moreton City. The second, anything but. Scoring from near on the halfway line to really light up Lakeside. Very nearly the perfect start for him in this game. Headline acquisition from Avondale. Victorian Premiers, 20 goals in all competitions. Australia Cup top scorer. And back at the place he used to call home as a junior. It's an enterprising start from South Melbourne. Jim Kresnar knows that his side, even if they have upset the apple cart of one foundation club in the space of a week, know that South Melbourne are a different beast altogether. It's just a bit too hot and heavy from Uchida in the direction of Max Mikola. There's another one of the Broadmeadow players that South will have to be wary of today. 19-year-old Cody Nankaro. Cochrane, his clearance cut off by Mikola, who hits to the bylines, floats one into a central area. Might it sit up here for Agwek? Another chance wide from today's starting striker for South. Really interesting to see how he goes today, injected from the start. Ollie Laval has been leading that line alongside Noel Bernarda, so it's a total refresh of the two up top that Sinisa Kahadzic has been rolling with in the championship. Big test for the likes of Broadmeadow club captain Tom Beecham and the Englishman Ben Diamond. They are a side, Broadmeadow, who haven't given up a lot in their local competition. Only one loss in the league all season. Only 3 losses in 30 games this year. South Melbourne throwing up quite a different challenge, though. Here's Thomas Beecham. South Melbourne putting Magic under the pressure cooker at the moment. Here's Palambini trying to make something happen for the Magic. Slightly overcast day in New South Wales. No rain spotted as yet, but you can see the clouds hanging overhead. It really is a beauty of a venue in semi-professional Australian football. As Broadmeadow picked this one off. It's push wide to Cody Nankaro. Drives his way towards Jordan Lampard and wins a corner, does he? No, good hustle from the South fullback to deny a set-piece opportunity to the hosts. Tidy turn from Gage Rafferty. One of 6 Australian Championship signings made by Jim Kresnar. Spink pushing it to Campbell Doverson. Nearly run out of real estate there, has the youngster. And Slightly run out of ideas. An easy gather for Luis Alvarez. It's been a tricky place for opposition sides to travel this season as Magic Park. Reigning premiers and champions went through the entire league campaign undefeated. Of course, lost here in the dying embers against Moreton City on the opening weekend of the Australian Championship. Early set-piece opportunity coming the way of South Melbourne here. Max Mikola, the man standing over the football. Those who watch South Melbourne often are so accustomed to seeing his set-piece prowess from throw-ins. We may see that later, but let's see what he can produce from the free kick. Lofted towards the back post, kept alive by Painter Andrews and cleared by the Magic defence. Lampard. It was a tough first touch and Magic able to create the stop. Palambini. Good interception by Spink. Clever turn from Nankaro. That applies, affords a bit of passage for Palambini. It was an awkward one for the Magic defence. Cochrane. It's been hard for either side to really string together fluent passing moves inside the opening 10 minutes. There are a few heavier spots on the pitch, particularly on this left flank that South Melbourne are attacking in the first half. Tom Giannakopoulos. Much to the disappointment of James Kresnar. Josh Attard whistling in favour of South. And part of a really effective midfield refresh in the championship so far for South. Tom Giannakopoulos, fresh off a grand final qualifying campaign with Dandenong City. He's really found himself at home alongside Seb Pasquale, who arrived as a trio of players from Western United. All the way back to Luis Alvarez. It's the first time in quite some time we've seen Victorian and Northern New South Wales Federation opponents go head-to-head. Prior to that meeting between Heidelberg United and the Western Bears earlier this year. Once before that was Broadmeadow Magic. He pushed the Bentley Greens all the way to extra time in 2022's round of 32. Traditionally, Vic v Northern New South Wales matchups have been dominated by the former in the NPL era. So Australia Cup and National Finals of the NPL, back when they were a thing. Victoria, 7 wins to Northern New South Wales 1. Cochrane, nice ball for Palambini, covering across nicely though Giannakopoulos. Just marshalling that one out of play. Safety first. And Jim Kresnar told me in midweek they are a team that prefer to transition. You can expect South Melbourne to take the bulk of possession today. It's really a matter of whether or not Broadmeadow can do what they did last week and pick the gaps when the space arrived, because there was a couple of times, not least that final goal for Aaron Cox against Sydney Olympic, where
They were able to do exactly that. Great to spot just along the fence there, the flag of the Clarendon corner, South Melbourne's active supporters. And over near Clarendon Street in South Melbourne, there are Hellas fans amassed watching this one at the Social Club, 1959 Bar and Grill. Hello to you if you're watching on from that venue. Taking in the sights of first national competition away trip in a long time as Mikola sets his sights from range. Oh. Whistled past the goalpost. You suspect that Luis Alvarez might have had it covered had it been on target, but Max Mikola, he is a player capable of creating magic moments out of very little. Very nearly did that today. Five goals this season for South's midfield maestro. The headline, the pick of the bunch, absolutely. That 90th minute bicycle kick match winner in the derby against Preston Lions at Lakeside. Broadmeadow Magic will have to have their wits about them when he's on the ball. Another chance for him to create. It's round one marker. Is there a teammate in the middle willing to get on the end of this? It's high to the back post where Agwek again is the target. Second chance from Painter Andrews, an unconvincing clearance, and now it might sit up for Lampard. Good block by the Broadmeadow defence. Still coming here though, South through Pasquale. And headed away by the back four. And the pace of Aaron Cox is able to keep that one alive. Threat to the South defence, but only for a moment. Well won back by Jack Painter Andrews. See another chance to look at this opportunity for South. Picture in picture. Good hustle from the Magic defenders to block the shot. It was the byproduct of a miscued clearance in a defence that only conceded 18 goals in the Northern New South Wales NPL this season, which it may shock you to learn was not even the best defence in that competition. Edgeworth Eagles, hard luck finishing runner-up, having conceded 15 for the campaign. Kept alive nicely by Gage Raftery. And that one just trickled out of play, so it's going to be coming back in the opposite direction from a Broadmeadow persuasion. Kresnar. It's a hot pass back to Cochrane, a deflection that is breaking the way of Luis Alvarez. Luck's a fortune there, because those can always be quite chaotic moments. Away there for Jordan Lampard today, a little bit closer to his natural home. He was born in Lismore, still a while away, but certainly closer than your average Victorian away trip. Didn't tickle for Max Mikola. Second season at South for Jordan Lampard, but a veteran of only 150 NPL Victoria appearances now. Bumped away by Broadmeadow captain Tom Beecham. And here is a throw that has had many talking in the Australian Championship. Max Mikola. Oh, it's a pump fake. And it goes short to Lampard. What can Mikola do with the ball at feet? Swings it in. It does find the feet of Uchida. It's a back heel cross, or it's a bicycle kick cross, rather. Pasquale. Around the challenge of Aaron Cox initially. Attempt for a throw at the other side. The question will be whether or not Max Mikler is marching across to take it at the opposite end. And indeed he is. It's an interesting story, the development of his monster long throw you're about to see. He was a pace bowler as a child. He's a keen cricketer, so he got very good at arching the back and firing them in. Had a mate who bet him he couldn't out-throw him, and Max Mikler said, I reckon I can. And there is the monster long throw into a dangerous area, punched away by Alvarez. And those who haven't seen it in the Australian Championship yet, that's what he's capable of. Doverson. Painter Andrews scrapping at the top of the penalty area. Flicked away by Baker, and now Aaron Cox can get on the march. He's got space to work with. This could be a big break for Broadmeadow. It's Aaron Cox. Lopez off the line, snuffing out the danger. You get a chance to see the transitional threats that Broadmeadow can pose when afforded it. And the lightning pace of Aaron Cox. Good to see one of a number of South Melbourne fans making the journey there. Decked out in the royal blue that is often associated in this part of the world with Newcastle Olympic. Big rival of Broadmeadow. Magic, the red versus blue derby, always one to highlight on the Northern New South Wales calendar. One to chase on the right-hand side for South. It's intercepted by Ben Diamond. And launched back in the opposite direction. Palambini battling with Giannakopoulos, the two number 17s of either side coming together. And the one in the white shirt victorious this time around. He's looked a handy player so far in the Australian Championship, Ezra Palambini. Very fine finish from outside the box last week against Sydney Olympic. Uchida. Oh, lovely work from Yuki Uchida, the outside of the foot cross. He thought there was a handball potentially in the defence. The referee believed otherwise. And that South fans no doubt will want to see again. Oh, fantastic work from Baker. And now Palambini pokes it across. It's the chance for Broadmeadow! Aaron Cox pushes wide, a glorious chance for the Magic to stun South. Magic Park fell silent in nervous anticipation as 19-year-old Aaron Cox could not repeat the trick of his goal against Sydney Olympic last week. So close. It got a few on the broadcast side by surprise because it wedged its way into the fence behind the goal, which made it look as though it might have nestled into the back of the net. And that's a warning shot for South. As in control as they have been in large portions. Magic starting to show what they can offer in the opposite direction. Well, Sinisa Kahadzic has really been able to turn this south side around. This is the retributionary foul from Yuki Uchida. Anything you can do, I can do better, but I think the referee had a slightly different view on the situation. As good as South have been since the arrival of Sinisa Kahadzic 12 rounds into the season, defence has still been slightly frail. Only 4 clean sheets kept this year in the Imperial Victoria. Of course, without one of their most experienced members of that back four today in Jake Marshall. That season's worth of experience at South Melbourne missing from that back line. This game all of a sudden has taken on a very interesting complexion. South still in control, but Broadmeadow's confidence growing as they give the Hellas defence more to think about. Doverson battling hard, it stays in play, but the referee had already whistled for a free kick against the young South Melbourne attacker. Still only 19 years of age, Campbell Doverson. One of 4 South Melbourne juniors who returned to the club at the start of this year. I'm sure many South fans still have a smile on their dial when they think about his fantastic brace off the bench in the 2025 Doherty Cup final. Baker applies the pressure to Braden Spink. And out it goes, the pressure pays. And the Magic Park grandstand starting to build in its anticipation. Baker chops his way out of play. Broadmeadow grandstand slightly less pleased with that. In the quirky boutique venue, Magic Park. You can see those red and yellow seats in the background. Many of them used to call the stadium, you can see just behind you, McDonald Jones home. They've rehomed many of those seats over the years. Great work by Aaron Cox. Round the challenge of one defender, but Painter Andrews battles back. Big scrap in the penalty area. A waggle of the finger from Josh Attard. Broadmeadow are really building into this game. Ingram will have the throw. Doesn't appear as though he's got a Max Mikler level ground gainer throw in his locker. Palambini concedes the free kick this time. Once there are plenty of seats, some preferring just to go straight on the grass. It's that sort of venue. I've seen deck chairs as well in the background. It's a venue that caters to all kinds of sitters and standers. It's a venue that's catering to a fairly watchable game of football so far. Good chances at either side. Still awaiting the opener after 24 minutes of football. Giannakopoulos found an open pasture, so too Campbell Doverson. Early ball from Painter Andrews, sloping towards the penalty box, side-footed away by the 32-year-old Ben Diamond. Brought across to the Magic from the UK a few seasons ago by a former Magic player, Justin Broadley. Actually was messaging NPL clubs. He put them on blast through DMs at that time, and none of them were replying. It took a connection to get him to the NPL in Australia. Prior to that, experience in the English non-league with Rushden and Diamonds. South Melbourne, 67% favourite so far on the poll. Of course, if you have a different opinion or if you agree, you can cast your vote by scanning the QR code on screen. I wonder how many of those votes were cast before Aaron Cox pushed one just past the post for Broadmeadow on the break. Glance clear by Braden Spink. Just his 7th appearance since signing for South from Gold Coast United. Aaron Cox. Pumped up the line by Ingram. Raftery finds Baker. Switch of play, initially well judged by Lampard, but it's Cochrane who comes away with the football. The first time shot from Baker takes a big touch and makes it easy work for 3-time NPL Victoria Goalkeeper of the Year, Javi Lopez. Favourite at Lakeside. There's the 34-year-old from Spain. Agwek collected from behind, all above board from Gage Raftery. And then Spink and Baker come together. It's the former who wins out. You can see Jim Kresnar is not incredibly pleased with the outcome. Jared Baker, friendly chat with Braden Spink. Surprised that Spink has had to be on his guard against Broadmeadow's number 11. He's hit 9 goals in this campaign. No whistle here. It opens up for Uchida. And the penalty appeals of South Melbourne waved away. Still a south ball through Mikola. Pasquale under pressure. And picks out Mikola. He goes down. That one will be a free kick. It was one of those situations where somehow, some way, both sides managed to find themselves dissatisfied with the refereeing outcome. Broadmeadow felt they should have had a free kick, and then seconds later, South believed they were due a penalty. This one, though, far easier choice for Josh Attard. There's a 3-man committee over the free kick. It's in the kind of area where the delivery into the box is as much of a consideration as a shot direct on goal. And I wonder if that's the point that Manny Agwek is making. He might want to have a pop with the right foot. He's been waved away. It's Pasquale and Mikola over it. Mikola looking the most likely. Pasquale with the arms raised, though. It is Seb Pasquale tried to sneak it through the wall. Lampard has a second crack. Good defending that time by James Kresnar. Important aerial battle coming in is Lampard on the left-hand side. Good save by Alvarez. And play drawn dead. That's Mikola conceding the foul. That was Shades of Jordan Lampard's late winner against Sydney Olympic, cutting it on the left. And uncorking the genie, but 22-year-old Magic keeper Luis Alvarez equal to the task this time. It was put into a fairly savable area by the South fullback. Just a bit of a nothing header from Marko Jankovic. And then in comes Lampard. You're thinking it's Sydney Olympic all over again, but the Magic keeper had other ideas. It's an uncomfortable one for Aaron Cox. Jordan Lampard just making sure the youngster is okay. Yeah, just catching a bit of a studying perhaps from Jordan Lampard, totally mistaken. Not a player that Broadmeadow would want to lose. Another one of their Australian Championship signings. Recently returned to Australia from Scotland, where he was in the books of St Johnston. Uchida, big chance brewing here for South. It's at the back stick for Campbell Doverson, who can't get a shot away. Maybe Uchida can. He's round a couple, but can't find a shooting angle. And Broadmeadow clear. And that time Spink easily accounting for the on-rushing Palambini. Chances in this game that are just emerging out of nowhere. Space just appearing that didn't otherwise seem particularly likely. It's making for an entertaining contest. It is, at this point, a wonder that we actually have not had the opening goal. And hopefully that is not a stroke of commentator's curse. Besmirching this game. We've only had one goalless draw in the Australian Championship so far. It's Friday night between Preston Lions and Avondale, two of the South's foremost state rivals. Beautiful stuff by James Kresnar. Left-footed switch of play is intercepted by Lampard. And Cochrane is not able to keep that one in play. It was a bit of a squibber off the top of the kneecap, it looked. Angle ball from Doverson was a beauty. Uchida upended, and the assistant referee on the grandstand side is flagging in favour of a South free kick. Cody Nankaro is leading the Broadmeadow Inquisition. At least because he is the guilty party, and you have to say, looking at that replay, a great deal in terms of a counter-argument to make in denying a free kick. South have racked up the set-piece opportunities in this fixture so far. Is this the one that they make count? Sent in by Mikkola, wonderfully shaped too. Can only find a Broadmeadow ahead. Uchida. Great turn from Cox. Another counter-attack potentially on here for Broadmeadow. It's 4v3 against the South Melbourne defence. Nankaro across to Aaron Cox. Cox goes down. Big calls from the grandstand. No whistle from Josh Attard. Spink and Cox coming together, shoulder to shoulder. Don't bother trying to tell that to the Broadmeadow Magic crowd. They were baying for a spot kick. Now South Melbourne come the other way. Beecham with the interception, and he is studded from behind. A little bicycle kick from Jordan Lampard there. Very nice stuff. It's been an intriguing battle so far, the one between Manny Agwek and Tom Beecham. And this time Agwek just a little bit too desperate to rob the Magic central defender of the ball. Kresnar. Cox is swapped over to the right flank. And that one deflects out, just holds up perfectly on the turf for Lampard to deny yet another potential Broadmeadow corner. They still haven't been able to have that opportunity from the flags. And the heavy touch takes all the danger out for South. From Aaron Cox. I just mentioned his recent arrival from St Johnston. Spent a number of separate loan periods across the lower leagues of Scotland. Dreamfield and Forfar. It's a player who is hoping to use the championship to go pro. He's putting a good foot forward so far. Giannakopoulos, delicate pass to the top of the box. Doverson, Painter Andrews. It's going to be Jordan Lampard who threads it across to Mikola, whose body positioning was just a little skew-whiff. And the Bronx cheers from the Magic faithful. Will be rather pleased with how the Magicians have taken to the task. They're facing a four-time NSL champion. Obviously, not to mention their 10 Victorian titles as well. Up and under from Ingram. Baker bringing it down, but not to the advantage of a teammate, Mikola. So we've got to be careful here. Giannakopoulos shows the cool head that was required. Ending ball from Jankovic. Uchida shown where to head by Gage Raftery. It's been a player that South Melbourne fans have really enjoyed having their hands on so far in the Australian Championship. Yuki Uchida, absolute standout performer. The Victorian top tier for Dandenong Thunder this year. As the cross comes in, and here he is. Uchida on the score sheet again for South Melbourne. Their star signing finds the breakthrough in Broadmeadow. And it is advantage South Melbourne in this top of the table clash in Group A. It was a decent build-up as well. Doverson finding Painter Andrews, a lovely cross. And it's a second goal of the Australian Championship for Yuki Uchida, a signing who is proving his weight in gold in the national competition. Brilliant attacking work by the fullback, Jack Painter Andrews, and Uchida. Well, he was doing that sort of thing, setting goals up against South Melbourne for Thunder earlier this season. And they're enjoying him a lot more now that it's happening and South colours. And that is a nerve settler for the visiting side. We can't forget how close Broadmeadow had previously come to opening the account themselves. Now they're in danger of conceding another. Mikola bends it in, and it's forced wide and away by Beecham. Still going, Max Mikola. Raftery showing him plenty of attention on the football. And the pressure enough to force the error from Max Mikola. That goal, Yuki Uchida's 9th goal contribution in his last 11 games. So he was riding the hot hand before arriving at Lakeside and has continued. Quite a remarkable rise in Victorian football for him. He spent 2 seasons in the 2nd tier of state football in VPL 1 with Northcote City. He's had professional experience before in Malta. And the good news for Broadmeadow is conceding the opening goal of the game has not perturbed them in the past. Of course, they went down 1-0 against Moreton City Excelsior. They went down against Moreton City Excelsior and managed to battle back a number of times. And when they've conceded the first goal of a game this season, come back to win 5 games. So not a team you write off after going behind. Although for their case, South Melbourne had to lose this season when they've opened the ledger. Very interesting one for Sinisa Kahadzic. As Uchida gets around his marker wonderfully and bends it towards goal. It's comfortable in the end for Luis Alvarez. He's a coach, Sinisa Kahadzic, who likes his teams to always play on the front foot, dominate the ball. A positive, proactive football, the kind that South fans were crying out for when Esteban Quintas departed the club. It's traditionally seen as the South Melbourne way, to be domineering and entertaining. But now they've got that 1-goal advantage. Given the transitional threat Broadmeadow have shown, are they content to sit back? Are they confident enough to throw down the challenge to Broadmeadow to break them down in possession? That will be a moot point if Broadmeadow find a swift equaliser. Palambini is apoplectic as to how that was not a free kick in favour of the home side. South Melbourne continue unperturbed. Lovely footwork from Gage Raftery. Sent up the line for Baker. Another contentious one in the eyes of Broadmeadow Magic fans. That's the noise you get when you've got the home field advantage. I'm sure other South fans feel very differently. Jack Painter Andrews, who was wrapped up in the challenge by Jared Baker. As we approach first half stoppage time, South Melbourne looking to go 3 wins from 3 to start their Australian Championship campaign. It's now one of 3 sides who have had a perfect start to this competition so far. Heidelberg United and West Arpia the others. Both of those will have the chance at a 3rd successive victory later today. Heidelberg will get that chance right now. They're in action against South Hobart. It's West Arpia on the late game in the West against Bayswater City. Pasquale forced off it. Kresnar just past the reach of Palambini. If they are going to get back into this game, those passes need to stick. 4 minutes added on to an entertaining first half by Charlie O'Brien. South Melbourne in the lead, but you get the sense this game will still have plenty of drama to serve up in the second. Second South goal, though, would make this one much more comfortable. Marko Jankovic. Delicate ball to find Mikola. Richard is able to win it back at the second time of asking. He's been absolutely menacing across the front three for the Magic defence to deal with today. Yeah, Cochrane certainly had his work cut out. And again, Max Mikola goes short. Uchida, the goal scorer, looking to turn provider, bending ball. Dealt with by the Magic defence. Palambini, it's a risky pass back to Will Ingram, and it is eventually picked off by Doverson. Agwek and Pasquale linking up. Beautiful passing football from South. There's a goal at the end of this, and Isika Hadzic might end up joining the celebrations because it's the kind of football that he likes to see. That one, though, if there was any designs of that happening to a close. And ball off James Kresnar. One of three Kresnars on the books at Broadmeadow at the moment. The three sons of head coach Jim. Jacob Kresnar, the oldest, currently out through injury, the 24-year-old. The youngest is in the books, but not in the Australian Championship squad. And Joseph Kresnar. I think naming sons with a J is a family tradition. Sent in by Mikola, headed towards goal by Jankovic. And the bounce off the turf took the danger out of it for Alvarez. Raftery for Cox. Baker back to Raftery, who continued his run. Palambini in the middle. Will Raftery need him? He'll need support in the form of Cox. Bending ball from Cox straight into the chest of Jordan Lampard. That is one area where Broadmeadow will be targeting improvement in the second half. Their crosses from that right flank virtually all struck the first man in Jordan Lampard. I said it was a ground that caters to all comers. People who like to sit on the grass, people who like to sit on deck chairs, benches. Apparently Newcastle Jets fans in those shoes as well, so there you go. Everyone welcome at Magic Park as Agwek marches forward and cuts inside and is thwarted by Gage Raftery. South winning it back swiftly. Lampard. To borrow time in first half stoppage. Uchida. Josh Attard allow South Melbourne one more chance? The answer is no. Hellas's first national competition away trip in 21 years is on track to end on a positive note. 1-0 they lead at the break, courtesy of Yuki Uchida's first half strike. A big second 45 to come in this top of the table Group A clash. The halftime score, Broadmeadow Magic 0, South Melbourne 1.
There's one stat best steered clear of at Broadmeadow Magic, and it's their NPL era record on the national stage. 1 win, 7 losses. Broadmeadow Magic, a name adopted in 1995 after the club played much of its history as Newcastle Macedonia. They fought their way up the leagues from humble beginnings to be 9-time premiers and 9-time champions of Northern New South Wales.
This is close. Krishna! What a finish!
An enviable record in a football heartland. But go further afield and all you find is heartbreak. 7 times qualified for the Australia Cup national rounds, 6 of them straight out in the round of 32. But there are 6 group games coming for the Broadmeadow Magic to write a new chapter and fly the flag for Newcastle. In the Australian Championship. We all know South Melbourne Football Club, but what have they been doing since we last saw South in the NSL?
Kovacevic and the South Melbourne players are desperately unhappy.
That was March 2004. Now, a 4-time NSL champion who represented Australian club football on a global stage had to ride the highs and lows of State League.
And after 8 years of waiting, there it is. They are the champions, South Melbourne.
But there would be surprise setbacks in the NPL National Finals and the FFA Cup. In more recent times, knockout football has been friendlier to South Melbourne, winning the last 2 Doherty Cups. South have been yearning to emerge from what they consider the football wilderness, seeking their next icon to put alongside the likes of Puskas and Postecoglou. And they'll do it in the Australian Championship.
It was the rattle of the dad's keys. He'd grab them, it'd be Sunday, and as soon as I heard the keys rattle, I'd be straight out the front door, standing beside the car, waiting for the old man to drive us here, home.
The weekend, where I'd get anything I wanted to eat, drink, and go there with this tribe of people.
I was ball boy for many years at Marconi, so I got to be right in the thick of the action. Marconi had a corner. Steve O'Connor went and stood in front of Bruce James, the goalkeeper. And in those days, there was no VAR. There was only one camera covering the match. And Rocky O'Connor turned around and headbutts Bruce James. And I just remember Bruce James just falling down and knocked out. And I was standing there like, oh my God, he's taken the goalkeeper out. And everyone's like looking around like nothing's happened.
One of my favourite players ever was Oscar Crino, and I remember seeing him at South Melbourne at Middle Park, and there was a big crowd, and he scored a free kick, and the reaction of the crowd and just that whole environment, I remember thinking to myself, how good would it be to create a moment like that?
I always wanted to play for Wollongong Wolves and play in a grand final, and everything's come true now, and if I retire tomorrow, I can retire a very happy man.
Well, 21 years and 317 days ago, South Melbourne won in round 18 of the 2003-04 NSL season at Newcastle Jets Energy Australia Stadium. 2 decades later, they are on track at Magic Park, just a stone's throw from that venue, at getting their first win in a national competition since. 1-0 they lead at Magic Park. A really entertaining first half that nearly got off to the perfect start. Manny Agwek coming on to the starters sheet today and a whisker away from making it 3 goals in 2 games. South did muster the best chances of the opening 15 minutes. Max Mikola sending one whizzing past the frame of goal. It's not a half that was short on chances. This one blocked from the fullback Jordan Lampard. Cross in the end came to naught, but Broadmeadow gave South plenty to think about in transition. This was the headline moment for them. Aaron Cox just wide at the crucial moment for a goal that would have bust this one wide open. This was the moment that mattered. Painter Andrews with a brilliant run down the right. And Yuki Uchida with his second goal for South in the Australian Championship. Getting a much needed go-ahead on the road for Hellas. Quality play all round. Painter Andrews' run and cross is delightful. Uchida's finish, not half bad in its own right. Setting up South Melbourne for a third successive win in Group A of the Australian Championship. They have dominated the stat sheet, but perhaps that stat sheet does not tell the full story, because while South Melbourne have had 12 shots, they do lead the game. Those two that Broadmeadow Magic have been massive opportunities to break this game open. So don't be fooled by South's dominance of the stat sheet. This one very much a live prospect with 45 minutes to play. You only have to ask Sydney Olympic what can happen against this Broadmeadow Magic side, particularly with such important points on the line in Group A. They'll look to conserve their lead from the first half. A lead that neither side could find on Friday night. Preston Lions and Avondale playing out a goalless draw, not for a lack of trying. Jason Romero went the closest, and Bruno Fornaroli nearly stole the show with a decent drive in the final couple of minutes. And the drama wasn't done there, because in stoppage time, Matt Reid received his marching orders, so a bit of a headache for Jonathan Gamana to deal with next week. But over at Marconi, it was goals galore. William Accio introducing himself to the Stallions faithful with a fine finish and a super celebration. It was the first of 3 for the Stallions. This one a calamitous penalty that saw Harrison Bunel receive his marching orders, and Franco Meyer slotting it home from the spot. And then this was the moment of the afternoon at Marconi. 17-year-old Noah Anderson ripping one in to the roof of the net, the youngest Australian Championship scorer so far. And this must-win matchup at Adenza Park, just down the road from Marconi, went the way of the Metro Stars. Michael Cittadini scoring the first of 2 in a come-from-behind win for the side from South Australia. Thomas Visser adding the second, putting the finishing touch on what was a flourishing move from the Metro Stars. Gets their Australian Championship campaign off and running in Group D. And the propensity for goals in this competition has not slowed down in the early kickoff. Sydney Olympic leading against Moreton City Excelsior, a result of some interest to Broadmeadow and South, who are playing now. And then Heidelberg United, gee whiz, are putting South Hobart to the sword in the driving rain at Olympic Village. 2 big games still to come to finish off the weekend. NWS Spirit hosting Canberra, Croatia, and then Bayswater City and West Apia meet in a massive clash in WA atop the Group D table. Still plenty of football to enjoy on this Australian Championship weekend that, as things stand, is going to be another happy one for South Melbourne. Do Broadmeadow Magic have a comeback in them? That's the question we'll find out on the other side of the break. Welcome back to Magic Park for this top of the table clash in Group A of the Australian Championship. South Melbourne, as things stand, on course to make it 3 wins from 3. Clean sweep of their group stage opponents. And it is those in red at this beautiful venue in Broadmeadow who will be hoping of a magic comeback, both in a literal and figurative sense. They have shown their bounce back ability in their premiership campaign this season and in their 2 games against Sydney Olympic and Broadmeadow in the championship. They're going to need to conjure up a second half revival. It is just the 1 goal that separates the sides, courtesy of Yuki Uchida. It's a massive second stanza that awaits in northern New South Wales. Back underway at Magic Park. South Melbourne with one hand on a continuation of their perfect start to life in the championship. Of course, they emerge with 3 wins from 3 from their group stage opponents. They're going to have to play them all again. Of course, it's a round robin format with the top 2 from each of the 4 groups progressing to the quarterfinals. South Melbourne looking very short odds to do exactly that. And here comes another missile from Mikola towards the front post, flicked on by Jankovic. And Broadmeadow nearly away through Palambini. They might be open on the opposite side. Corcoran checks in field, makes life a little difficult for the Magic midfielders, but they come up with something. Cox on the left-hand side, just an under-hit pass and an inaccurate one into the limbs of Braden Spink. Cox lifts the ball in and it's out of play all the way through the South Melbourne penalty area. Decent delivery from young Aaron Cox. It just needed a truly willing recipient. Palambini, bright start from Broadmeadow to open the second stanza, and at the 47th minute mark they will finally get their first corner of the afternoon. Had a number of nearly moments in the opening 45. So Will Ingram will get the opportunity to wrap his boots around the ball for a goal that would lift the roof off at Magic Park. Sent in by Ingram, moved forward by Diamond. Now Cody Nankaro flicking it back to Ben Diamond and picked off by South Melbourne. Uchida on the march. Mikola clears the space for him. He's riding a bit of a lone hand at the moment. Yuki Uchida! Wow, what a run, and the finish not far away from the Japanese live wire. He had support in the form of Mikola, did not need him, and very nearly uncorked a fine goal. Here's a red-hot start to life as a South player. He's not showing any signs of slowing. It's going to be really
intriguing to see how both sides approach this second half from a tactical perspective. South Melbourne never a team to turn to defending a one-goal lead. They like to search for a second. But naturally, the longer they stay behind Broadmeadow, will have to throw more numbers forward, and maybe that might leave them vulnerable in the opposite direction. Picked off by Pasquale. And the ball forward to Agwek, just didn't stick. Bit of a reprieve for Broadmeadow, that one. As Cox twists and turns in the centre. On ball forward, Palambini chasing. And will have to content himself with just keeping it alive at the moment. Raftery gets the eyes up. It's well shaped, but repelled and shallow. Giannakopoulos. Agwek has used his body brilliantly and contorted it fantastically to find Doverson, who wants to pick it back to Agwek. And will keep it alive, and oh no, there's a ball boy in danger on the far side. Oh, thank God he is all good. There's one thing you do not want to see, whether you're a Broadmeadow Magic defender or a young child, that is someone with the pace of Manny Agwek hurtling at you at 100 miles an hour. Lampard. Agwek, space opens up for Agwek! Nearly another slice of Manny Magic. Does not need much of an invitation to have a pop. Halfway line goal last week, and nearly a stunning one on the bounce with the outside of the boot. South Melbourne get a corner, so it must have taken a touch en route. This one has been laden with chances. South Melbourne pressing their case for an insurance policy at Magic Park. In comes the corner, Jankovic lurking. Header off targets. A very positive day for the Victorian side so far. South Melbourne in the ascendancy here in northern New South Wales. Back home in Victoria, Heidelberg United were 6-0 up at the break against South Hobart. Doverson breaks on to the left and gets the beating of the Broadmeadow defence. A nice free kick coming the way of the visitors here. Lovely footwork from the 19-year-old to win the free kick. The New South Wales opposition have not gotten the wood over South for 23 years in national competition, and it is looking like a one-goal margin that South Melbourne are threatening to trouble at the moment. Mikola to the back post, it just misses Painter Andrews, and out of danger for a Luis Alvarez goal kick. Broadmeadow, though, this season across league, cup and championship commitments have been real late game specialists. That's beautifully done by Uchida. He is putting on a show today. The cross not quite as good as the footwork that preceded it. And Cochrane can lump the ball away. Broadmeadow just feeling the heat at the moment. South turning the screw in search of a second. It's a critical juncture in this Group A matchup. Broadmeadow have scored so many goals in the final 30 minutes of matches this season. 44% of their goals this year have come in the last half hour of games, so they are a team well versed in the late show, but before we even hit that mark, South Melbourne are hoping to put this one to bed. Punched in by Pasquale. Jankovic is there again. And might have caught a few of the locks atop the head, but not much more. Really done well to quell the bright second half start from Broadmeadow. One-way traffic in the last 10. South Melbourne need to maintain a 100% start to life in the Australian Championship. So that's gathered by Javi Lopez. It's a start to life in the Championship that looked a very, very unlikely reality at the start of this season. South Melbourne just 2 wins in their opening 10 games. Panic stations, panic sirens were abound at Lakeside. Sinisa Kahadzic has come in and changed all that. Mikola darts the eyes up, looking for Agwek. Is Uchida going to win this one? No, it's going to be Cox who is the swiftest. Palambini to Raftery. Wasn't left with a lot of options, but found a perfect one in Palambini. Legal in the eyes of Josh Attard from the challenge of Seb Pasquale. Always great to see a 25-year-old getting regular match minutes. He's played every second of the championship campaign for South so far. After 6 years at Western United. Hasn't managed more than 20 games in a year of football. Only once in the last few years, as Palambini is sent to the deck. And out of play for a goal kick. After a bit of a lift in those areas, Broadmeadow. I wonder how soon we might see Jim Kresnar head to the bench. There are a number of bright attacking options he could choose to call on. Young gun Jesse Hill, Charles Bidwell, Jaden Stewardson. All offensive options who could make a mark. Sinisa Kahadzic has tended to leave his substitutions a little later so far in the championship. There's a few sub players on the bench today who have only played a handful of minutes, despite coming on in both games. Giannakopoulos pushes it across to Spink. Painter Andrews, lovely ball over the top. Pasquale! South turning on the style, but still searching for that second. What a wonderful ball that is from Painter Andrews, and Pasquale went for glory. Couldn't find the target, and you can see Max Mikola with his head to the turf there. He wanted it cut square for a potential tap in, not to be. So it's been a really confident, commanding, and dare I say it, professional performance from South so far in the second half. All that is missing is that 2-goal buffer. Mikola, deflected cross, and picked off by Nankaro, the 19-year-old. Baker just losing his footing at the crucial moment. Jankovic strides through from central defence. Lampard. His delivery forces Agwek to backtrack. Doverson. A neat pass. Campbell-Doverson in turn for Pasquale. South happy to try their luck from the opposite flank. Next goal feels really massive in this game. Agwek, bouncing ball, not controlled by Uchida. And Caro Palambini took it on the turn and got round a marker, and now Cox is hurtling forward. Is there support for the 19-year-old? We can find is a cross that's flicked into a dangerous area and gathered eventually by Javi Lopez. And that could have been so different had it just been a fraction closer the cross to Jared Baker, who was in the middle. It was the combination that got them on the score sheet for the first time last week against Sydney Olympic. Not to be this time around. Didn't I say it, though, a much needed sign that South have still got something to think about. Wondrous turn from Mikola. The pass not quite matching it, though. Cox. Looking for an option. Going short for Kresnar. Beanie and Raftery just couldn't quite combine that time. Raftery spent the season of NPL in northern New South Wales with Maitland. And here he is pulled back from behind by Giannakopoulos, and it's a yellow card coming the way of the man they call Tommy G. And that one pretty cut and dry in terms of adjudication for Josh Attard. Getting to the point where players will have to be careful and cognizant of their yellow card count. It's sent in by Kresnar. The bend on the ball always favoured Javi Lopez and was able to collect. Agwek is being urged to drive by his teammates. So that's one to Doverson. Pasquale has really had a heavy influence on this second 45. And that is, well, he's had so many great moments of quality today, Painter Andrews. The assist and the near assist for that earlier chance from Seb Pasquale. That is far more agricultural from a player whose quality is significant in NPL Victoria, one of the competition's finest fullbacks. Never been an issue of quality for Painter Andrews. A question of fitness. Have hernia surgery in the off-season. Missed nearly 10 weeks last year as well. He's back on that yellow card count. It's 3 yellow cards in the group stage. Triggers a 1-match suspension. That's the first card going the way of Tom Giannakopoulos this afternoon. The only player, there are 2 players who will have to watch out for that potential suspension today. One of them has just missed this challenge in Max Mikola. He's sitting on 2 yellows. James Kresnar also on 2. So it is 3 yellow cards to trigger a 1-game suspension before they reset in the knockouts. As Jim Kresnar resets with a substitution here, and it will be a familiar name and face to NPL Victoria sickos and maybe South Melbourne fans. Jack Simmons, formerly of the Dandenong Thunder in 2023, played twice against South Melbourne. As Mikola launches that in, it's away by Cox. And Painter Andrews won't reach that one. Mikola hits the deck under the influence of Cody Nankaro. Comes up with it anyway. There's the first touch for Jack Simmons, not his finest. He's a quality player, particularly at Northern New South Wales NPL level. Shooter has it robbed off him by Cochrane. You cannot quite believe that the throw is going in South Melbourne's favour. He's been very industrious on the flanks today, Jack Painter-Andrews, as has this man, Yuki Uchida. Still the game's only goal scorer. Hard as it may be to believe if you've been with us all day. Mikola's launch creates a bit of chaos in the penalty area, but gobbled up in the end by Luis Alvarez. Doverson saw the onrushing presence of Raftery and decided to retreat to Giannakopoulos. Uchida setting a task for Pasquale, who keeps it alive, and here is Campbell Doverson, whose touch escapes him at the crucial moment. Good defending by Raftery to thwart the cross. Painter-Andrews nearly caught out by the speed of Cox, who delivers. Uchida again blocks by the Broadmeadow defence. Yankovic. His pass into midfield. Doverson for Agwek. South flexing their muscles. Lampard looking to be the hero, but he's lacking the power and conviction to truly trouble Luis Alvarez. Clean sheets for him in Northern New South Wales. That's a poor pass though. Doverson inside. Yuki Uchida robbed of the ball. Another reprieve. A let-off for Magic. Palambini. And they pull out a trick at the other end. Simmons' pass was a rough one. He's been holding up in the turf consistently today. So it's would be one of the few groups in the Australian Championship that does not have a single synthetic turf at any of the venues. They're playing on grass. Nankaro hurdling down that grass. It's Cody Nankaro into the middle, out for a corner. And they are late game specialists, as mentioned. Broadmeadow, perhaps they are building themselves towards a late stand. Very deep stare into the camera, that one. Good to see smiles on the faces, though. You can't blame them. It's been an entertaining game of football so far at Magic Park. Ingram has gone short. The ball comes in and repelled by South. And the foot race on. Max Mikola winning it. Agwek cantering forward over his shoulder, but finds support short in Seb Pasquale. Now he goes hunting for Manny Agwek, who can't make too much of it. A handful of players who have previous A-League experience. Here's the person who wants to get an A-League experience in Aaron Cox. Broadmeadow Magic fans crying out for a free kick that doesn't arrive. It's an end-to-end game of football right now. Doverson. Pings one to Painter-Andrews. Nice pass, a low percentage one. Kresnar, huge up and under. Harvey Lopez will be happy to watch that one out for a goal kick. South Melbourne have not lost in the 13 games they've scored first this season. Perhaps that is part of the reason why they are still 58% favourites in the court of public opinion. Of course, you can cast your vote on who you think will win by scanning the QR code on screen or heading to australianchampionship.com.au. It is a percentage figure that has closed up, though, in favour of Broadmeadow since the last time we checked in. Kresnar slapping his quads in frustration. It's been kind of a game at points for them. And it's a free kick going the way of South Melbourne. Max Mikkeler in real discomfort. Looks as though, just cast your eyes to the picture behind the scene of the incident. It is a raft of changes on the way for South. I can spy at least 4 players stripped and ready to come on. Whether or not they all come at once is another question. It's the challenge that upended Max Mikkeler, and it's the challenge that will be his last involvement of the day, as it is a bit like Central Station on the sideline, or maybe Flinders Street if you're of a Victorian persuasion. Andrew Mezzaruni, one of what looks like 4 changes for South onto the field. Another one is a South Melbourne debutant in Bilal Habib. And another South Melbourne player getting his first appearance in a South shirt is Koder Kadur, number 23. He's replaced Jack Painter-Andrews, Matty Agwek, and Campbell Doverson, the other players coming off alongside Max Mikkeler. So a huge refresh on the South bench. And the confirmation of those Broadmeadow changes imminently. His first touches as a South player for Koder Kadur. Messaruni back to Pasquale. Kadur couldn't link up with his new teammate in Uchida. And Broadmeadow take the free kick quickly. Palambini sending it forward to Nankaro. Agile and intelligent was Harvey Lopez to deny him. Bilal Habib down on the deck. And a yellow card dished out. And this is why. Palambini just cutting across the back of Bilal Habib. Here are those Broadmeadow Magic substitutes en route. Jeremy Wilson and new signing Charles Bidwell both making their way onto the field. Bidwell having arrived from Tasmanian outfit Devonport Strikers in the Australian Championship transfer window. Jeremy Wilson, a 150-game veteran of the Magic. So a fresh face and a very familiar one. Kadur takes the free kick short. It's crossed into a tantalising area. And just past the reach of Andrew Messaruni. For the delivery of the 4th and final of those South Melbourne subs, Charlie Leach. First season at South Melbourne for him. So how do those subs change the complexion of this game? Does the extra energy afford South the opportunity to put the full stop potentially on this one? Or does the amount of changes disrupt the flow? Does it give an opening for Broadmeadow to steal the show? Sinisika Hardzic very animated on that touchline. He's had to put in a power of work this season to right the ship at South. Free kick. Well, the pictures tell the story. Jim Kresnar not best pleased. Neither are the fans in the Magic Park stand. Another free kick going against the home side. This was the incident that had them up in arms. Habib and Bidwell coming together. Former earning the free kick. Jim Kresnar has been furiously pacing that technical area in front of the Magic Park grandstand that, fun fact, he actually helped build. As it comes over the top for Nankaro, Spink makes the interception. Jim Kresnar's father was a bricklayer. Built this Magic Park grandstand, and a young Jim Kresnar helped to lay them. So the Kresnar connection runs deep. Broadmeadow Magic are starting to believe in the stands. That one past the reach of Tom Parks, who's also come on. Hoping for another super sub appearance from him. Kadur inside for Charlie Leach. Habib. Great battle between he and Bidwell. And it's Bidwell who emerges victorious. Parks now setting a task for Cox. And Lopez has been really smart and wise to those long balls in behinds. When you've got the pace that Aaron Cox does, you're going to require a defence and a keeper who is not afraid to come off their line. Uchida hits the deck. And Josh Outside has been a busy boy in this second half, dishing out the yellow cards. Gage Raftery, the latest into the referee's pocketbook. And yeah, Uchida just caught in a Broadmeadow Magic sandwich there. Probably a foul that Raftery had to make. Uchida has been so tough to contend with for the Northern New South Wales side. As things stand, his goal is going to be the difference. Giannakopoulos looking a little ginger. Medical attention on the way for him. South Melbourne do have midfield stocks in reserve should they require them. 21-year-old Alex Menelau, Jack Pope still available off the bench. We'll at least be without him for this incoming free kick. Inside the final 5 minutes. Both of these sides have scored more goals in the last 15 minutes of their games this season than in any other period of the match. Both sides will be hoping their propensity for finding the net in the dying embers strikes true again today. Jack Pope is on in place of Giannakopoulos as Pasquale delivers. Messaruni rises. Broadmeadow rid the danger. Raftery, some fast feet to feed Cox. He's always looking to turn on the jets on that left flank. Still going, Aaron Cox. Big touch. And Pope with a big swing and a miss. No whistle required. For the referee, Bidwell to take the throw. It's bent away by Pasquale. 11 minutes now. Standing between South Melbourne and the continuation of their flawless start to the Australian Championship. Uchita's early ball was hopeful as it travelled in the direction of Jack Pope. And now Broadmeadow are bringing a press for one of the first times in this game. Nankaro. Spink. As mentioned, it'll be a reset in round 4, each team having played all of their group stage opponents once now. So another away trip on the road for South Melbourne next week, and a big one at that against Sydney Olympic. Now the Magic make the journey to the Sunshine State to take on Moreton City. And South Melbourne are looking to put this one to bed. They come forward through Charlie Leach. And blocked out of play by Ben Diamond. Kota Kadua has been lively since coming off the bench. South Melbourne debut. Missed the opening rounds of the championship season on international duty with Lebanon. A handful of games in their Asian Championship qualification campaign against Bhutan. And his former Western United teammate Pasquale will send the ball in, and it's a shallow one, far away short of his best today. Inside the final 10 minutes, time starting to become the enemy of Broadmeadow. There's 2 goals in the final 15 minutes on Northern New South Wales Grand Final day. That led them to a second straight championship. It's the kind of performance they will need to draw on if they want to take the scalp of South. Or even a point will do. Oh, that was nearly awkward between Jordan Lampard and Javi Lopez. Sometimes the freedom to come off the line with regularity can get the better of goalkeepers. Thankfully, not so that time. It's a rare offside of this afternoon. So such a counter-attacking game. Both sides have done well to hold the line. Another sub on the way in the late stages of this game. A big round of applause for the departure of Cody Nankaro. It's been such a bright spark since signing from Cooks Hill United 3 rounds into the season. Goal scorer a couple of weeks ago against Moreton City. I'm sure the applause was also in appreciation of the return to the squad of Jaden Stewartson. He's been at Broadmeadow Magic for 8 years. Over 100 appearances. First cap in the championship today for the striker. He scored on the national stage before. Broadmeadow played Sydney United in 2023. Going to be another disappointing day for Northern New South Wales sides against Victorian opposition, as that's a speculative drive that is easily dealt with by Alvarez. He's quick to get Broadmeadow moving in the opposite direction. Raftery. It's a quick throw for Will Ingram. Penny for the thoughts of those watching on. the 1959 Bar and Grill, the South Melbourne Social Club. 1-0 lead. A slightly nervy one as Broadmeadow start to throw numbers forward. Raftery. Checking back onto the left. Sliding it across the face. It's Ingram. Back from Simmons. Great block by Bilal Habib. Brought on as an attacker, but he's having to do a lot of defending at the moment. Simmons looking to bend it, but all the sting coming out off the turf and into the arms, gratefully, of Javi Lopez. Pope. Well, the space afforded to him by the Magic midfield. He took it and ran with it. Pope. Pushes it to Uchida. Yuki Uchida still going, cuts it inside. Masaruni just missing that final touch. And that run might have come at a bit of personal cost to Yuki Uchida. Keep an eye on that one as Stewartson goes down. And the whistle materializes. Spink. Perhaps surprised to come away with that one without a stoppage. Bilal Habib. Would he mark his South debut with the goal? Habib, the long-range effort, tipped away by Alvarez. A superb stop from the Magic keeper to deny Charlie Leach a super second for South. Lovely right-footed curler that brought the best out of the Magic keeper. That is a, well, no wonder he's all smiles. That is a superb save from the 22-year-old. So Pasquale not in the grandest of hurries. Comes the corner, Jankovic found it in Acre. It's rare you see something like that happen. It's fed back out to Pasquale. The overlap arrives from Leach. Pasquale doesn't want it. He clips it to the edge of the keeper's technical area, and it's repelled by Broadmeadow, who are looking to break. Parks was thwarted. Does well to win it back. Leach recollects for South. Critical stages of this game. Uchida twisting and turning, Leach coming away with it. And Ben Diamond making the block. The home crowd trying to galvanize behind their team, will them on to a late equalizer. Time is running out. It's the double winners from northern New South Wales. And they will take a lot of pride out of the performance. If it ends as it is, both sides will come away with plenty of positives. But Broadmeadow want more. Sure, South do too. A second will take all the air out of the Broadmeadow balloon. But still they come forward. Stewart threads the needle for Parks. The cutback. Oh, it's blocked. Stewartson was there. South rid the danger, only just. Well, that's the fine margins of football on display there. Without that critical defensive intervention, 19-year-old Aaron Cox was popping up for a late goal. The speed of this Champions League group stage format means that every game matters. And this one certainly does. Launched in by Bidwell, punched away by Lopez. And then more emphatically removed. Really a crowd catch in the grandstand. Jim Presnar is pacing that touchline so furiously, he may as well be playing the way he's going. He's trying to will his side on to some late drama. That's not what was required. Lopez marshalling his men forward. Broadmeadow are leaving it all out there. South, their only lamentation will be that this game has not been put to bed earlier. They've had so many second half chances to seal the deal, but as yet, this one remains a live prospect. Final outfielder of the day coming on for South Melbourne. It is a well-earned rest for the man who stands as the winning goal scorer, Yuki Uchida. He is replaced by Alex Menelau. It's his third successive appearance off the bench for South in the championship. Simmons, bit of a half-hearted ball, a clever chest back to Lopez. Broadmeadow looked to have thrown their goal-scoring defender Tom Beecham forward. Hopeful that he can find a sixth of the season. The captain, Lampard, sears one along the surface, and it'll hold up nearly for Charlie Leach. Every touch so critical now. Lopez again marches upfield and limps it away. Pitch. Raftery darts the eyes up. Here is Beecham. Was that the chance for Broadmeadow? Their captain, fantastic, rose highest in the box. Couldn't direct his header on target. It's the first time they've really found a pinpoint cross on the flanks today, Broadmeadow. And Tom Beecham could not find his way on the score sheet. There's still time for Broadmeadow to fashion another opportunity. And for South Melbourne too, that one has come off Josh Attard. No advantage in the ball off the referee game. Sorry, Alex Menelau. The ball's just been left. Well, that was bizarre. Oh, Broadmeadow tried to come in and rob it off South Melbourne, but Josh Attard will allow South to have a second crack. Pumped forward by Pasquale. Every touch so critical in this one. You can really feel the tension at Magic Park. A massive scrap. South Melbourne emerged with the football. And the free kick coming in favour of South Melbourne. They will be only so happy to chew away the stoppage time seconds. You would imagine that Josh Attard will add a little bit more time onto this game. There's been stoppages inside the stoppage time. It is route one for Broadmeadow, and not the route that they needed. Out of play to try and lock South Melbourne in this corner. South seconds away from 3 wins from 3 in the Australian Championship. The first national competition away win since the last time they went to Newey in the NSL. It was Michael Kasija's goal the difference that day. As it stands, Yuki Uchida is the hero. hope. Fancy flicks. That's an awkward one. Is it going to sit up for Habib? The answer is no. Kadua. South perhaps happy to conserve, although that touch is a poor one from Messarooney. Just keeping the door ajar a fraction for Broadmeadow, but the problem for Jim Kresnar's side is they are now leaning on the generosity of Josh Attard. It's launched forward by Alvarez. It's missed by South in the air. And it took a touch off the head of Kadua, so Cox will take the throw. It may all be on this for Broadmeadow Magic. Can't be flicked on at the front post. Kept alive in the middle. There was Parks. Did it come off a hand? South clear it away. Into the 96th minute at Magic Park. Aaron Cox wins a corner. And belief still abound in Broadmeadow. Can Magic pull a last-second rabbit out of the hat? They scored from a corner in match day 1. Can they do it again? In it comes. Alvarez is up. And out of play goes the header for a goal kick. That might be South Melbourne home and hosed. Javi Lopez will look to get as much distance on this one as he can. It's a sign of how much these games mean. They're throwing up the keeper for a group stage game. It's not even knockout football yet. Launched forward by Lopez. The full-time whistle sounds. And after surviving a late scare, Super South march on in the Australian Championship. Their perfect start continues. A third win in as many games. And Yuki Uchida is the hero after his first half goal. The full-time score from Magic Park. Broadmeadow 0, South Melbourne 1. Well, the more things change, the more that they stay the same. South Melbourne in 2004 emerged victorious for the last time on the road against Newcastle United. And here on their return to the Hunter, they've got it done again. And this was the moment that made the difference. Yuki Uchida on the score sheet after a lovely bit of attacking fullback work from Painter Andrews. The run, the cross, all brilliant. Uchida doing the rest as his hot start in a South shirt continues. It's a goal that is worth watching again and again for its build-up. These are the kind of opportunities that Broadmeadow will be left to rue. That one, if it took a bigger touch from Baker, could have been real danger for the goal of Javi Lopez. South Melbourne, try as they might, could not find an insurance policy goal. They couldn't have come much closer. Charlie Leach forcing a fine goalkeeping effort from Luis Alvarez. And this was the one they will look back on and rue Broadmeadow. Tom Beecham up and over the crossbar. Anywhere but there. And we could have been talking about a magic moment at Magic Park, but not to be. South Melbourne, well, they get the win that their dominance of the stat sheet deserved. Broadmeadow had good chances in the first half on the break, but South really flexed their muscle in the second, adding on another 11 shots to their tally, even if it came without the second goal that would have finished this game far earlier than the full-time whistle. Work to do in front of goals at the training pitch for South. No such troubles over at Olympic Village, where their Greek rivals Heidelberg United are still 6 to the good against South Hobart. Sydney Olympic look as though they've gotten the job done against Moreton City. Two final fixtures of round 3 to enjoy on the way in 90 minutes. Spirit hosting Canberra, Croatia, and Bayswater City hosting a top-of-the-table clash against West Apia. An all-Italian affair at Frank Drago Reserve. So we've got at least 2 sides whose perfect starts to the championship will continue. Heidelberg United 3 games from 3, and South Melbourne, crucially, 3 from 3 as well in Group A. Broadmeadow dropping out of the top 2 places as things stand, with Sydney Olympic getting their first win of the championship. So it is a group that, with 3 games to go, very much a live prospect, Group A. And the widest open are the final 2. Avondale atop Group C with Croatia and Spirit still to play. And West Apia hoping to keep up their 100% record, with Metro Stars getting off the mark in that group and making it interesting in the weeks that remain. But for South Melbourne, it is A+ across the board. They come home from their first away trip international competition for 20 years as very happy men. Yuki Uchida, the hero, as South go on the road and head back with all 3 points. We sign off from Magic Park, where the full-time score was South Melbourne 1, Broadmeadow Magic 0.